Hi and welcome to another BrettWeiss.com Excel screencast. Today's screencast is going to be on the select case construct in VBA. If you're watching this video on YouTube and you'd like this workbook to follow along and view the code, head over to BrettWeiss.com/Excel-screencasts, go to the select case VBA video, and underneath the video screen you'll find the link to download the workbook for free. The select case construct in VBA can be used in a lot of the same ways that the if statement in VBA can be used, meaning that it's very useful for choosing among different options. For example, you'll see here on this worksheet I have a couple people's names and their annual salary. To the right of that I have some tax bracket information along with the percentage of tax paid on the various tax brackets. Now say I want to create a macro that if I select one of the names from the list and make it my active cell, I can then run a macro and determine how much tax they paid during the last year. And to do that, we're going to use a select case construct and choose among the different tax bracket options depending on the salary of the person in question. Then we're going to have a message box that pops up telling us how much tax they paid during the last year. So first let's go ahead and view the general form of the select case construct. If you hit Alt 11 and bring up the Developer tab, and if you're not already on it, in the modules section, select the general select case module. I'm already there and I'm selected. This is the general version of the select case construct. The syntax is you start with the word select case, and then next to that you're going to enter the expression that you want to test. So in our case, the expression that we're going to want to test is the person we've selected salary. So we're going to want to test this salary and say, okay, if the salary is this, we use this code. If the salary is this, we use this code. And if the salary is anything else, we'll use this code. Then we're going to end the select case construct with the words end select. So let's click over to the mod taxes module and we'll see our macro that I've already started. As you can see, I've already declared our interest rate constants. I've named them just rate 1, rate 2, rate 3, rate 4, and I've entered the interest rates according to how they appear on the worksheet. I've also declared 3 variables. Our variable salary, which is the variable that we're going to test in the select case construct, the variable name, which is the person's name that we've selected, and the variable tax paid, which will be the person's salary times the tax rate determined by the select case construct. So we'll start into the macro. These 2 if statements are just here for a little bit of error handling. They have nothing to do with the select case construct. They're just there. This one says if you select a blank cell, it'll pop up a message box saying no name is selected, and it'll exit the sub because we won't be able to calculate anything if there's no name selected. And this says if there's no salary in the column next to the name, they will also exit the sub, and I'll show you what that looks like when we go back to the worksheet. So let's start our select case construct. What I'm going to do first is define a couple variables. We're going to define the name variable as the active cell, and we're going to define the salary variable as the active cell offset a row or offset a column. So it's going to be active cell.offset 0, 1 dot value. This is just saying we've selected a cell. The cell we've selected is the name of the person. The cell that's 1 column over from the name of the person is going to be that person's salary. That's all it's saying. So now we're going to enter our select case construct, select case, and the expression we want to test is the variable salary. So our first case is less than 41,000. If it's less than 41,000, the code is going to be tax paid, which is our tax paid variable, equals rate 1, which is the rate is the tax rate if your salary is under 41,000, times salary. And then we're going to do that for the next different tax brackets. So case 41,000 to 82,000, tax paid equals rate 2 times salary. And it's a good idea to get into the habit of these indentations. It makes your code a lot easier to read if you ever have to go back and change it. case 82,000 to 128,000 equals tax paid equals rate 3 times salary. And in this, since this is our last case, if we had a situation where we had the first 3 cases and then the last case could be a bunch of range of values, we could put case else and then put our code. Since we have a defined last value, we're just going to put we're just going to follow the same construct we'd be using, and we're going to put cases greater than 128,000, and then our final. Just realized I spelled a variable wrong there. Rate 4 times salary. Then we're going to end our select case statement with the statement end select. And now we want a message box to pop up that says how much they've paid in tax. So we're going to put message box name, that's our variable name. And then our variable tax paid. Taxes. And then we'll give the title of taxes paid. We have our end sub. And now we're ready to go test our macro. So we'll go Alt F11. I'm going to insert a control button onto the worksheet to test this macro. So I'm just going to go insert, control button. The assign macro box comes up automatically. I'm going to select my macro that I've just recorded. I'm going to press OK. I can rename this real quick to tax paid. And now let's see how our macro works. So if I click on Steve, I click tax paid, and the message box comes up. Steve pays $17,160 in taxes. So it looks like it's working. And now let's go back to the VBA editor and just see what it's doing as we go through the code. So if we start at the top of the code and press F8, actually let's just make sure I'm still in a, yeah, I'm still on Steve. Let's go back. Start stepping through the code. We go F8. We have a value in those cells, so that's going to go through those if statements. Our first variable, we're going to have the name. If we move the cursor over the name, we can see that the name is Steve. We can see that the salary variable is $78,000. And now we enter our select case construct. And notice when it gets to Steve's salary of $78,000, so it's going to get to this case, $41,000 to $82,000, it's going to evaluate this piece of code and then end the select. So as I step through here, it's going to evaluate this piece of code. It's going to go straight to end select. It doesn't evaluate the rest once it finds what it's looking for. So we'll end the select. The message box comes up. Steve paid $17,160 in taxes. Go back to the worksheet, and that's the basics of the select case construct in VBA. I want to thank you for watching this screencast on brettweiss.com. Have a great day.